So today we're looking at what feels like a really defining moment for U.S. military AI.
Absolutely. It's this collision course almost between Silicon Valley speed and Pentagon strategy.
And our mission here really is to get right into that conflict. What actually happens when you try and merge the fastest commercial tech with the military's very specific, very demanding requirements.
Well, that pivotal moment, you could argue, landed squarely in 2025. That's when the DoD's Chief Digital and AI Office, the CDAO, put serious money down. We're talking contracts up to $200 million each.
$200 million each. To who?
The big commercial AI firms, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and even xAI got in there.
Wow. Okay, that scale. That definitely signals they're past the experimenting stage. This is full commitment to, commercial speed.
It's the commercial-first strategy in practice. They want to bring in advanced large language models, LLMs, for analysis, sure, but also, and this is key, agentic AI.
Agentic AI.
Yeah.
So autonomous digital operators, things that can actually do complex tasks on their own.
Exactly. Multi-step tasks for defense security. And what's really interesting is the philosophical shift this represents. I mean, historically, some of these big tech companies were, let's say, hesitant about military applications, maybe put up restrictions.
Right, there was definitely some friction there.
But now they're directly involved. Yet that whole Silicon Valley culture, move fast, maybe break things, it immediately sets up this tension, a real conflict with the military's absolute need for safety, for accountability.
Okay, let's dive into that tension then. Starting with how intelligence is gathered. LLMs at machine speed.
Yeah, LLMs are becoming central for OSINT open source intelligence. They can sift through just enormous amounts of data, summarize it, spot patterns way faster than humans ever could. It gives a theoretical edge.
Theoretically. But doesn't the government's own plumbing, its data infrastructure, kind of struggle to keep up?
That's been a huge challenge, which is why the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, had to stand up Postman. Yeah, the primary open source tasking management aggregation network. It sounds complex, but it's basically their first real attempt to get a standardized OSINT architecture across the board, even for our Five Eyes partners.
No, hang on. The government knows its data systems are lagging, fragmented even, but they're dropping hundreds of millions on these super advanced models they might struggle to even feed properly.
Well, that's the crux of it, and it leads straight into what you might call the speed trap.
Okay.
You get machine speed analysis from LLMs, which is great. But at the same time, generative AI has created this massive data integrity problem. Deepfakes, synthetic stuff. It's everywhere.
So the speed boost you get from the AI has to be balanced against this really intensive, slow verification process. You have to check if the data is even real.
Precisely. Automate the analysis without rock-solid verification, and you risk just automating the acceptance of garbage data, which is a huge risk, especially when you think about prediction.
Ah, prediction. This is where things get really interesting, because didn't even advanced projects like from DARPA find that AI is, well, not great at predicting complex human stuff, like intent or strategy?
That's exactly right. AI, even now, fundamentally struggles there. It can mimic static perception like what it sees in a snapshot, but it doesn't really grasp dynamic human or social strategy, the fluid stuff.
So if AI can't be a perfect crystal ball, a reliable oracle, what's its role then?
The thinking is shifting. Instead of trying to perfectly predict the adversary, which seems fundamentally limited, the focus moves towards using agentic AI to make sure the U.S. can react and execute tasks faster, at machine speed, outpacing the opponent.
So prediction becomes more about decision support, helping humans make better calls, reducing risk, rather than fully automating the prediction itself.
Exactly. It's support, not replacement.
But shifting to AI action, even agentic AI, brings up that accountability issue again, doesn't it? Which leads us to the price of responsibility.
Right. The DoD has its 5 ethical AI principles. They use the acronym RETRG.
RETRG. Let's see. Responsible, equitable, traceable, reliable, and governable.
Those are the pillars. But traceable, that's the real sticking point right now.
Why traceable specifically?
Because these powerful commercial deep learning models are essentially black boxes. They're so complex internally that figuring out why they made a specific decision, auditing their reasoning, is incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible.
So if you can't trace the why, how can you possibly test and evaluate these things properly? The traditional methods must be useless.
Obsolete, basically. Which is why the DoD is pushing towards a pretty radical new approach to T&E testing and evaluation.
Which is?
Continuous, and penetrating assessment. And critically, it has to start early in the development cycle, not just bolted on at the end.
Okay, I see the collision now. The commercial-first strategy wants to grab these ready-made, off-the-shelf models quickly.
Models built in that commercial black box environment.
But the new T&E demands getting inside the box, continuously, right from the start.
Exactly. The two approaches are fundamentally clashing. You risk deploying systems bought for speed that haven't been fully vetted through this new, deeper ethical and safety lens.
So wrapping this up,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway for you, the listener? Seems the real cost here isn't just the $200 million price tag on the contracts.
No, the much bigger, perhaps hidden cost is the massive investment needed for the governance infrastructure. That whole system-wide overhaul of test and evaluation, that's what's required to actually ensure that the speed they're buying doesn't completely undermine responsibility.
Ultimately, the success of this whole massive AI push seems to hinge entirely on whether the Pentagon can actually engineer RETRG, those ethical principles, into every single one of these fast, commercially sourced AI systems.
It's a monumental engineering challenge, frankly.
Which leaves us with maybe a final thought to ponder. As this agentic AI gets more capable, doing complex things on its own, operating at speeds humans can't match, how long can that principle of human accountability, human control, realistically hold up? How wide can that gap between machine autonomy and human responsibility actually stretch?